Hi, I'm Patty Russell, and this is my sister Sam. I just moved in.
We haven't lived together since we were kids.
I was raised by our aunt and uncle.
Yeah, things sure have changed. I used to dress her. I can't wear this out in public.
This makes up for the haircut you gave me when I was 3.
The Golden Gate Bridge is the very first thing you see in the 1986 sitcom My Sister Sam. It's a very quick shot of the camera panning slightly downward, and that was taken at the Golden Gate viewpoint. For that shot, it looks like they took a photo and put a couple of dissolves in it. Here's my recreation of that. Not too bad. It's very 1980s. Pam Dauber and Rebecca Schaefer spent an entire day in the city by the bay getting shots for the opening credits. 3 short years later, Rebecca Schaefer's life would end at the hands of a crazed fan. But in this video, let's look back at the great time that Rebecca Schaefer and Pam Dauber had spending the day in the city getting footage for their new show, My Sister Sam. I lock my car in San Francisco because there's so many smash and grabs. Alright, the next scene is a shot of a cable car going up Hyde Street from just about this angle. And if you think this looks familiar, you're right. This is my 3rd or 4th time up here for a filming location. This shot on Hyde Street is a favorite with production companies. Most notably in the intro to Full House. But My Sister Sam did it first 1 year prior, although it's a very short clip. That's it. That's the entire clip. Next you see Patty and Sam walking down Alscoma Way. They're walking past all the boats right here on Fisherman's Wharf. The large building in the background and that smaller hut-style building are still here today. And you can come down here to Alscoma Way and recreate this opening scene. The buildings far off in the distance are mostly there, a little bit altered. And we'll come back to this spot later on in the intro. They made 2 slightly different versions of the opening credits, and sometimes you'll see the girls looking at crabs standing outside one of the stalls here at Fisherman's Wharf. That building in the background is this building right here. Hello. And it's currently called the Chowder Hut. And it can be seen from a number of the stalls here, but I think this shot from the intro was filmed behind this stall right here with all the crabs. Unfortunately, we can't see the hut because there are some boxes in the way. When I was down here filming my Full House location videos, I met a very crabby person. He was a homeless guy and he just didn't like me. He took out a bottle of juice or alcohol, swished it in his mouth, and spit on me. Thankfully, I didn't get crabs. Sometimes the opening credits while the shot of the girls playing with some pigeons in front of a fountain. And that is this fountain right here, in front of the Palace of Fine Arts. How I know that, I'll tell you later. And it all wraps up with the sisters taking a selfie down here on Alscoma Way at the tail end of Fisherman's Wharf. And Sam sets up a camera on a tripod, puts it on a timer, and runs into the scene. This was decades before the selfie. It was a more civilized time. And it's a lot of fun to pretend that you're on a timer and run into the shot. That building in the back there on the left with the circular shapes at the top of it, it's still there, a little harder to see with this other building in the way. All the while, during the opening credits, you hear Kim Carnes singing the opening theme, Room Enough for Two. I'm sure you all remember Kim Carnes. She sang Betty Davis Eyes. The opening theme would take a creepy, morbid turn with the death of Rebecca Schaeffer. The opening lyrics are,
Everything starts like a knock at the door. You don't know what it is, but you know who it's for.
and it was a knock at the door from a stranger, an obsessed fan, on July 18th, 1989 that ended Rebecca Schaeffer's life. I'll try and make a video about that soon because I was in LA the day it happened and I remember it vividly. And speaking of Los Angeles, we are now 400 and so miles away from San Francisco in downtown Los Angeles. That is the historic Pico House. The Pico House was built in 1869. It was funded by Pio Pico, the last governor of Mexican California. He may have also invented pico de gallo salsa. I don't know, don't quote me on that. But we're here because the Pico House was used as the exterior of Patty and Sam's San Francisco apartment. Now it's really hard to tell which apartment was theirs because the trees have grown so much. The camera would push up and to the right, showing that this was Patty and Sam's apartment, and it served also as Sam's photography studio. So their apartment was somewhere right over here. But in this nighttime scene from the show, we get a better detail of where exactly their apartment was. The two lights on showing their apartment was directly diagonal of where the Pico House has an upper ledge. So there's the upper ledge on the Pico House, and behind these trees are those two windows that were lit up. So this was Sam and Patty's two-story apartment from My Sister Sam. Okay, I gotta get back to San Francisco. I still gotta finish that burger. But wait, there's more. The original pilot episode didn't air until episode 22 for some reason. And in that episode, we get even more San Francisco locations, like them driving down the crookedest street in the world, Lombard Street. I'm so glad Rebecca Schaeffer got to experience Lombard Street. If you've never driven it, here's a vertical video I shot last year. Then Rebecca and Pam came here, to the Japanese tea garden. This is the oldest public Japanese garden in the US. Pam Dauber was below taking a photograph of Rebecca Schaeffer up on the hill with the pagoda behind her. And this is about where Pam Dauber was standing. It looks exactly the same. The waterfall is still there. The pagoda and everything is still identical. And this is where Rebecca Schaeffer was standing. This place is popular and it costs $15 to get in here, but the girl at the counter, she let me in for free. Had to use the old Stanley charm. I was also staring at this Japanese statue and inadvertently joined a tour group or a possible cult. If you're having fun so far, please give this video a like. Just like my admission to the Japanese tea garden, it's absolutely free. This is the Bielkor Fountain. I'm probably butchering that name. It was built in 1971 by Quebec artist Andreas Bielkort. It's an example of brutalist architecture. The cool thing about this fountain is you can climb up it. And that's just what the girls did. They went up the fountain, took a bunch of pictures, and it looks like they're having a great time. This fountain has 2 walkways, and they're at the one right here on the left. If this fountain was working, water would be pouring out of this spout right here, and this was where Rebecca was standing. Rebecca and Pam were cracking up here. And you can climb up this fountain and goof off as well. This fountain was very controversial when it opened, and it still is to this day. A lot of people think it's pretty ugly, but it actually matched the freeway that was here back in the 70s and 80s. There used to be a double-decker freeway which spanned this whole waterfront. Here are some old photos of the old Embarcadero Freeway. It was a double-decker freeway, and though probably convenient for commuters, it really blocked the view of the San Francisco Bay. And this fountain was designed to look like the pylons in the freeway. 1 year after My Sister Sam filmed out here, U2 was playing a free concert right here. And lead singer Bono got the bright idea to spray paint the fountain. He spray painted "Rock and Roll Stops the Traffic."
Rock and roll stops the traffic.
I believe that's where Bono did the graffiti. But it wasn't U2 that stopped the traffic, it was the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. That earthquake damaged the freeway so badly, they decided to tear it all down. That earthquake was the best thing that happened to this area. The 1906 earthquake, not so much. Then it cuts to a wide shot of them here at the Palace of Fine Arts playing with some pigeons, and you see the fountain in the background. So it was the wide shot in this episode that showed me that the fountain from earlier was at the Palace of Fine Arts. And Rebecca and Pam were surrounded by pigeons that day as they fed them bread. Today, not a pigeon in the sky. I didn't know this until recently, but these impressive relics from the 1915 Panama Pacific International Expo had to be rebuilt in the 1960s. They weren't built to last. The original 1915 structure was never made to last for future generations. It was made for the exposition, and it was made out of plaster and burlap fiber. But this time in 1966, the palace was painstakingly rebuilt in reinforced concrete to stand the test of time. And just like this palace, Rebecca Schaeffer's memory will endure for generations through reruns of My Sister Sam. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!